speak. I'm just going to speak quickly to introduce sacred segments on Wednesday, the 23rd of November. And today, the focus is healing trauma from childhood. And we have been speaking a few minutes off camera, and Bonnie raised the question about the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh that the three wise men gave to Jesus, and asked the question, what sensitively, do we feel, or intuitively do we feel about these gifts? And Amit was talking about that he's traveled to the Middle East, to the region where they spoke Aramaic, and that you were talking also about the sense of smell being something that you feel very, all of us have our heightened senses of the five, right? We've got one that's predominant, and you were talking about that. Please continue about what you were saying about gold, frankincense, and myrrh meat.
Okay, so I mentioned, so the earliest memories I had were from school. So in the nativity plays, I was introduced to them as a child, being born in the UK, and being in a predominantly Christian background of a country. So I was always introduced to these, and what they were brought over by three wise men from faraway lands. So there must have been something out of this world. Now, later in my life, when I traveled to the Middle East, I traveled to Syria, Lebanon, all those lands surrounding there, Jordan. I came across many places where these herb essences were sold on the streets, the resins were burned, monasteries and mosques, where it was used as a clarifying resin, or to actually clear energies through things that people call exorcisms in many traditions. But what happened is it sent me on a multi-dimensional kind of, it sent me to a place where I couldn't describe. Now that we're in consciousness and spirituality, our multi-dimensional nature is obviously connecting with these senses. I now use them in energy healing, to clear my aura. I use them on my body, but also to connect with that side of me, which is a past life. So mind, body, and spirit, in a sort of it's also number 3, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Numerology, Trinity, neutral brain, positive, and negative brain. So again, 3, balance. So yeah, that's it.
You're muted.
Thank you. Thanks for telling me that. Jan, welcome. I see you've joined us. Hopefully it's Jan, and I'm saying that correctly and not Jan. If you want to turn your camera on and say hello, please do.
I'm going to try to call Anna Lee.
Don't worry. I was just about to say. So Anna Lee had some issues with timing, and she's going to be joining us for the last half an hour to do her segment, because she's teaching. So she is coming, but we're gonna change the timings around, and she's going to do the last half an hour. So if Bonnie, you could go first after I have just shared a couple of things, and then Anna, if you go second, and Amit, if you go third, because I know that you're going to share something as well, if that's okay. Are you good with that?
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. I thank you for saying hello, Jan. Are you comfortable turning your camera on? Just type if not.
Hi, Jan.
Okay. What I wanted to ask you first. By the way, Greta is not able to join us tonight. Um, so what I'm going to ask you first is to set an intention. Okay, and so just think for a minute and take a deep breath and think about what your intention is for this session and this time that we're together. We're together for an hour and a half in total. There's an hour and 15 minutes left of our time together. And just think for a minute if you could succinctly put into a phrase or a sentence what your intention is for this time. I'm just going to go silent for a few seconds and then I'm going to go around the group and ask. So, bearing in mind that this session's focus is healing our trauma from childhood. Okay, I'm just going to go silent for a moment. Okay, I'll start. So my intention is to be in touch with my inner child and to bring joy into my life and into this moment. Okay, I asked Jan, she said it won't turn on. I did try even just to wave and turn off, but I'm not really a fan of the camera. Okay, that's fine. We'll honor that. So, Jan, if you want to type your or unmute and speak your intention, then please do so. And while you're doing that, I'm going to ask Anna.
Ooh, I'm on the spot. I don't know what my intention is.
That's okay.
My intention is to keep the momentum going in my life. That things have been moving along and they feel very aligned, extremely aligned. And I want to, my intention is to continue this and for all this stuff to gather momentum and to make a quantum leap forward into a glorious future. And so this is part of it.
Okay. Thank you,
Anna.
Part
of that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Jan, would you like to share? I'll give you a moment to respond. My intention is to heal from trauma and start living. Yay. That sounds amazing. Right with you on that one. Amit.
My intention is to keep that inner child alive and use it for my abundance, my prosperity, to color all aspects of my life and heal from my trauma.
Wow.
Use my gifts.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Bonnie.
Anna pretty much touched on what I have been feeling. My intention is to keep this energy within my own life moving, and I've enjoyed it, and I don't want it to stop. Also, we're moving into the Christmas or this period of time that's special for all of us, or some of us. And as it's here, you know, I'm a mother, but I have a son that's across the country. And I have a daughter who's now single, who lost her husband recently, but she has her own life. So it's me. So tomorrow, while everybody's doing their thing, I think that I'm going to have my intentions to do things that aren't like based on tradition. Okay. I don't have to cook a turkey. My intention is to go buy a turkey and put one in the oven. Do that. I can make oils. Happy in making oils. That's my intention, to find my own happiness.
I love
There it is.
love
I got to it.
Beautiful. Well, okay, so I'm just going to share a few things for maybe the next 10 minutes, and then I'll hand over to you, Bonnie, to do your segment.
Okay.
So today I had family therapy with my mother and my brother, and I'm going to share something. On every sacred segments I talk about an angel or an ascended being or a saint, or energies that we can call on. And I know that there are some guests that have said, or one guest particularly, that talked about when you pray or when you ask, go straight to the divine. I completely agree with that. When you're calling on higher power, go straight to the divine. But I would like to add to it and say that I don't feel separate from the divine. I feel like it's, integrated, and also all of the angels and the saints and you, all of you, I think we're all part of the one energy. And that there are multi-dimensions and multi-facets to the one energy. Right? And sometimes they appear as destruction, and sometimes they appear as beautiful angels, or the face of a baby, or an opposing boxer, or somebody in your face, or whatever it is. They're all aspects of the one energy. So today I want to talk very briefly about Father Christmas, or Saint Nicholas, and also Melchizedek, two different beings. And I mentioned the family therapy because there was something that came up when I was reading about Melchizedek that was very poignant for me. So apparently, through my research, Melchizedek was the first son of Noah. Noah being, Noah of the Great Flood and the Ark, and the founder of the priesthood, which Jesus of Nazareth belongs to, and the head of the order of Melchizedek. He's like a wise angel-like sage with traits of man, and he's mentioned in the book of Judges, which was removed from the Bible. Now, it's interesting, isn't it, that it was removed from the Bible? So this is the energies that Melchizedek helps with. Oh, also, I think I need to add that some people believe that Melchizedek was the first incarnation of Jesus Christ. Yes, I see you nodding and shaking your.
I've heard that. Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Same lineage, I think. And it could be. Also, it's said that Melchizedek, may be also the Archangel Michael in a different form. So these are the energies that Melchizedek helps with: correcting an unpleasant situation, esoteric understanding, manifestation, and remember that this group is about manifestation, healing, law of attraction, and metaphysics. Also shielding against psychic attack and spirit releasement. So, if you have entity attachments, you can call upon Melchizedek. Or therapy involving colors, for instance, aurosoma or chakra clearing, using crystals, feng shui, Reiki, all of the healing modalities, right? So here is the invocation to Melchizedek. I'm going to speak it out loud. Wisdom of Melchizedek, power of Melchizedek, order of Melchizedek, I invite and invoke your presence and protection. Melchizedek, thank you for clearing away all lower energies thoroughly. Melchizedek, thank you for purifying us and the situation, whatever situation that we're dealing with. Melchizedek, thank you for rearranging the situation so that it reflects only the higher spiritual laws and energies. Divine wisdom, power, and order now guide our actions, thoughts, and words, and we are safe and protected in all ways. And also, I'd like to add to that, we call upon Melchizedek to help heal and release all of our childhood trauma in all directions of time.
Mhm.
And this is now. So, now I'd like to speak about Saint Nicholas, who was born in Asia Minor, which is now Turkey. He was a real human being. So I'm talking about Santa Claus now, right? And these are the energies when you call upon Santa Claus, he was a real being, right? Which has somehow got merged into this man with a white beard that, you know, your dad used to dress up as, or whoever it was, you know? Anyway, when you call upon the energies of Saint Nicholas, he can create a perfect wedding if you're getting married. He can help in the kitchen when you're baking. You can call upon him for protection of children and safe travel and to open your heart. So when we're connecting with joy and healing and the healing of our childhood trauma, I think Saint Nick is a good one to call upon because he represents opening of the heart. And this is the invocation. Saint Nicholas is a generous, kind-hearted soul who will help anyone in need. He's long been associated with pine trees and the color green. And when you would like his assistance, light a green candle and perhaps sprinkle some pine oil and ask for his help through an open heart. And don't be surprised if he suggests that you give in order to receive. Hence the idea of Christmas gifts, right? And it's a universal law that as we give, we receive. So that was what I wanted to share about Saint Nick and Melchizedek.
Did you ever hear that he might have been a shaman?
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
That in the Nordic and Siberian traditions, it's through eating the mushrooms or something like that, through consuming of psychedelics, that he would be flying through the air with the reindeer.
Wow.
There's something, but I don't, yeah.
And you know what I heard is that the reindeers eat
yes,
magic mushrooms.
The mushrooms?
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it was. Yes. Yes,
Wow.
and that he's considered in some ways of thinking shaman.
And isn't pine one of your trees that you love?
Oh, it's my tree.
It's your tree. How cool is that? Now I want to get my pine essential oil. I think that will. Yeah. That will be my next thing. Okay, last thing that I wanted to talk about before I ask you to share and then go to Bonnie is mirror work. I've mentioned mirror work on other sacred segments, and I just want to remind you that it's a powerful tool for healing, particularly healing trauma and we're literally connecting with ourselves. And usually what happens when we go in front of the mirror is we start to criticize. So you can really make wonderful steps in your life if you stand in front of your bathroom mirror or any mirror and look into your own eyes and stay focused on your eyes. And when feelings and thoughts that you do have as you do this, and you find yourself being immediately critical of your physical appearance, or you may have positive feelings about yourself, this is what you say, very simply, I love you. And if it's too difficult, you say, I'm willing to love you. And if you can think of any other positive messages that you can give to yourself, do that. So forgive yourself and others and practice your communication skills in the mirror. And if you're willing to do mirror work every day, you'll experience real quantum leaps in your life. So that takes us to past, where I'm going to do a share and then hand over to Bonnie. So I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm going to phrase it positively. Thinking about your own childhood trauma, what can you do in one sentence to heal it? Oh, I love that you have a dog. I didn't know that. Okay, so I'm going to answer this first, and then I'm going to ask Anna, and then Jan, Amit, and Bonnie. So the question again, what can you do today, now, to heal your childhood trauma? So my answer is to bring my energy and attention into the now whenever I feel past hurts. That's my answer. Anna.
In one sentence, huh?
One sentence.
To look at what happened and at the you that it happened to through the eyes of infinite love and compassion.
Whoa. Thank you, Anna. Jan. So as you're typing, I'm going to ask Amit.
I would reflect on whichever situation that was, and I'd give myself a big hug physically, saying that you're never alone and you have yourself. And I'd feel that energy of my own energy coming up my hands, enveloping me, and the angels around me. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Jan said that she's sorry she totally missed the question as her carer just gave her medications but has now left. So Jan, the question is, in one sentence, how would you heal or begin to heal your childhood trauma? In one sentence, what can you do now to heal your childhood trauma? So while you're thinking about the answer to that and typing it, just take a moment to think on it. Bonnie, I'm going to ask you that question.
Okay. I'm going to try to put this into one sentence. It'll be a run-on sentence. Both parents are deceased, and I did have a rough childhood. So since they have both died, my mother and I, after her death, speak often now. And she died in 2011. And I believe we've done more healing in our relationship since she's been deceased. And we speak often. She visits me in dreams, and I'm running on. I'm sorry. So that's it.
Wow. Do you know how much hope that gives me? Because I have a very difficult relationship with my mother. That gives me so much hope. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
And you can do it too.
Yeah, I believe you. Okay, so Jan has said, I have no idea. I'm consciously working on myself on every level. I would imagine that the last 3 years. Cool. Well, that's okay not to know. We don't have all the answers. And sometimes, like Deepak Chopra says, not knowing is a really powerful place to be. It really is. Because you connect with the realm of infinite possibilities. So it's okay that you don't know. And just allow yourself to be in that place. And that's okay. You're in a place of healing right now. Just remember that and connect with that thought and that energy. Thank you for sharing, Jan. Okay, so Bonnie, I'm going to now hand over to you.
Okay, so Anna, I don't know, and Jan, you weren't here at the initial when Alexis and Amit and I were speaking about frankincense. And so frankincense is what I chose today, even though it's not an herb. It comes from the base of a tree that's in Egypt, and it was founded by the Persians. So the reason I chose frankincense is because while we are beginning this season, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, I know that gold is not an herb, but I think maybe if it's okay with you, Alexis, we'll incorporate it and into the season,
Yes.
and we'll be able to reflect on what these things mean to us. So frankincense comes from the boswellia tree. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. Is that right?
Boswellia.
Boswellia tree.
Boswellia. I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly, but I think it's Boswellia. Yeah.
You're probably right. Boswellia.
Yeah.
And so its resin at the base of the tree is olibanum. You know that? Olibanum? Is that right? Okay. And you talked about, and I have it in my notes, the Arabic refer to it as the milk. And you said in your notes about having a milk drink with frankincense, right? So I'm not for sure that I would want to do that, but I might try it. But frankincense was very, very expensive back 2,000 years ago because it had to be imported from Persia to wherever it was going. And so when the three wise men, who I call astrologers, found the Christ child, they brought him frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And so it was one of the most expensive herbs. I'm going to call it an herb, a resin that they could bring. And so I know what the books say. I know what they're going to tell me about frankincense. It's a deep healer. And yes, it is. But there was something alternative that they had in mind. And I know it's true because it sits in my heart that there's more to that story. So I'm going to give you the everyday knowledge. It's used for inhalants for those of us with asthma, and I have some burning now. It's not helping. The resin is used for salve, and I've been using it on my hands, the aromatherapy. It's used for rheumatism, wounds, and athletic injuries. It helps to heal cancerous lesions, which that's very interesting. It affects the vagus nerve for people who are forgetful, who have lethargy, who have stress, who have emotional fatigue, and who are very nervous. It helps menstrual pain. It helps UTIs. And in China, they use it for leprosy. Most interesting is I just discovered this morning that it can be diluted and used as an eye wash. And I constantly get pink eye. So I'm going to try that. It's also used in facial masks and cosmetics because of the odor, and it's also an insect repellent. But my whole thing with the frankincense golden myrrh, I'm thinking on the 21st is our last group visit before Christmas. So maybe on that day, if everybody contemplates this a little bit, they can share something that maybe they wrote a poem about it, or maybe they had a dream about it, or maybe they drew a picture of it, or maybe they had some kind of insight. And yeah, do you understand what I mean? That it comes together at the end, and whether you choose gold or frankincense or myrrh or all of them, it speaks to you, and that speaking through you tells us something. Is that possible?
That sounds like a great idea. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful.
And Amit knows a lot about frankincense, so thank you for letting us know.
I think the golden milk you spoke about, it was actually with the turmeric and not the frankincense. But it's funny because I've got capsules for the frankincense downstairs in the kitchen. They make capsules you can ingest.
Okay, so is it, how large is it? Like 10 cc's or 5 milliliters? Or
the frankincense capsule is powdered and
okay,
probably this size, and you can have it with a drink.
Okay.
So,
what would you drink with it? Go ahead.
Anything. You can have a glass of water with it. But it's good for the joints as well. Good for the joints. Good for the immune system, as you were saying. Yeah.
How does it taste? I mean,
it tastes gross.
Probably very
I have frankincense all the time. It's not.
I make frankincense water.
Nice.
Do you?
Put some of the resin in water, and you let it sit, and you drink a few ounces every day.
I use doTERRA essential oils, and I sell them so I can get a wholesale price for them, and I can sign anyone up wherever they are in the world to get these oils. They're the best quality in the world, among the best quality, and you can ingest certain ones. You have to research them and you have to know them. But literally, one drop of frankincense, I can put that particular quality directly onto my tongue and not be affected by it. But yeah, I use frankincense daily in various ways. Putting a drop on the bottom of your feet is a great way to get it into your bloodstream. Because of time, I need to move on. So thank you, Bonnie, for talking about frankincense, a very powerful resin or herb. Do you have a piece of art that you've been working on that you want to share, or do you want to wait, or not? Okay, you're muted, but you can talk to us in a second once you're unmuted. Anna.
Okay, there we go. I have not been working.
Fine. No,
I haven't been
worries.
working on a piece. Okay.
No worries. Thank you. Okay, so Anna, would you like to go next?
Yeah, apologies for my internet connection. It seems to be really bad tonight, so I hope you can hear me okay.
We can hear you.
Yeah, there's definitely a delay, so it's a bit frustrating. Sorry about it. There's nothing I could do.
Oh, good.
Okay, so for Amit and Jan, since I haven't met you before, I'm just going to introduce myself a bit. My name is Anna Pavlakis, and I'm a shamanic healer and spiritual coach and feng shui practitioner. And I help my clients to really make huge leaps and transformations in their life when they work with me. And tonight's topic is a very near and dear one to my heart, because a lot of my work is about helping people clear trauma, because it becomes trapped in the body and in the organs. Traumatic experiences leave imprints in your energy and in your actual body, and you can also carry trauma down through the bloodline. So you can be carrying generational trauma from things that happened to your ancestors. And so you might be experiencing traumatic events that are echoing things that happened to your ancestors. Or you may be triggered sometimes without knowing it, without understanding why. You know, like, why am I feeling so triggered by something when it's really something that happened to your ancestors, as well as things that happened to you in your past lives. So trauma is a very complex thing. And, you know, we often don't remember things that happened to us as children, especially if they were hugely traumatic. We often disconnect, disassociate, and leave our bodies, and we don't have memories. That's happened to me. I had a really horrific childhood traumatic experience, and I didn't recover memories about it till about 7 years ago or 8 years ago. So one of the ways that we hold trauma, as I said, is in the organs. It can be trapped in the organs as well as the etheric organ, because we have both. And so what I wanted to do tonight is it's called a heart scar clearing prayer, or, you know, clearing, that I've had for some time. This was actually written by a woman named Lisa Renee. This is not my work. I'm just sharing it with you. I really think it's important to give credit to those whose work we take, you know. So with your permission, if you would like to, I would like to do this heart scar clearing with you. It will take like a couple of minutes. Is that okay? Would everybody like that? Yes? Yeah? Okay. All right. Okay. So give me one moment just for a second to just want to just putting a shield around us. And I invite you to bring your awareness and your attention into your heart space. And just keep your attention there as I say these words, okay? Dear beloveds, guardians, serving the law of one. And you can also invite in your spiritual team, your whatever beings you like to work with, your higher self. Please clear, heal, align, anchor, activate, synchronize, fill with light, repair, and reconnect our heart chakras, heart channels, and heart complexes. Please merge our sacral and heart chakra centers to be in synchronization and communication with each other. Remove all heart scars, heart traumas, and impacts now. Further clear from our mindsets, bodies, morphogenic fields, and subtle energy body systems, all heart scars caused from all original primordial imprints of separation. clear in order of priority, and infuse the universal harmonics as a seal with our intention to heal fully, completely, and totally through all levels, dimensions of our beings, and through the void. Anchor, lock, and seal this work through our holograms. Anchor, lock, and seal this work through the time matrix, through eternity, and through infinity. Seal this healing permanently into the light of oneness. We choose the divine patterns of perfection now. In deep gratitude and reverence, we thank you. Amen. Let's give that a minute. And I always feel a real lightening when I do this. Yeah. So that was that.
I've got to tell you, Anna, sorry, welcome Anna that's just joined us. Anna Pavlakis just did a really powerful healing for us, and it was to remove the heart scar. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, it's called the Heart Scar Clearing Command. Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know where I got this from. I got this years ago. But I've used it ever since, and I just find it extremely powerful.
I've got to tell you, Anna, like I know when something is working because my body starts to vibrate when I'm channeling spiritual energy. My body, like it's people around me have been a little bit afraid of me, but like my head starts to go like this, and like it's weird.
Yeah.
Like I have to like physically control myself from like doing all of this business, and I'm not doing it. It just happens. So I know that it was working. Thank you so much, Anna. That was beautiful. Anna, thank you so much for joining us. Anna Stone, you're looking gorgeous. I'm going to come to you in a few minutes. I'm going to now ask Amit to speak for the next 8 to 10 minutes, if that's okay with you, before I hand over to Anna Stone. Anna Pavlakis, once again, thank you. That was beautiful. Really powerful. Thank you. Over to you, Amit.
Okay, hi everyone again. Alexis, thank you so much for inviting me onto this sacred segment. So just introducing myself. So my name is Amit Shah. I'm a Kundalini yoga therapy practitioner. I also do angelic healing, ceremonial healing, Reiki, Seichem, and I'm also training as a psychic medium. Artists and writing are also something I express myself with. And so, yeah, my just very, very short summary is my spiritual journey started in 2014 with the diagnosis of HIV, which changed my life in many ways. And it was a bit of a shock. I'd always been a spiritual person, but it was mainly being in contact with culture and religion in the formal sense. What then happened is I opened up to the energy of the Kundalini when I started teachers training. And I've had a few experiences of awakenings in the last 8 years where, Alexis, you were just saying that you shake. So I've had 5 major awakenings throughout the 8 years, which 4 to 6 hours of intense shaking, which were quite unexpected, which released a lot of trauma. But after the trauma has been released, the whole journey of sensitivity, learning about energy, how to use it, how to ground it, how to embrace the gifts, and then the inner child healing comes from this, ancestral, all these things that we're speaking about. So I guess, from what I do, My purpose when I've been reflecting since I was a child has always been to use color, sound, movement, and expression as I did as a child, and I was steered away from it. You know, being from an Asian family, oh, you have to do science and you have to be a scientist, and you know, all that kind of thing. Whereas I was always a born healer and a born artist. So since then, I've started embracing my gifts and talents again. And so the Kundalini background, which I spoke about just now. So Kundalini means in Sanskrit, it means a lock of awareness, a lock of the beloved. And the beloved is the consciousness that we hold within. It's the inner knowing, the purpose that we are in each soul contract. And so through these practices of Kundalini yoga, meditation, breath work, chanting is a very big part. So in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. And this is exactly what we do. We vibrate the cosmos to our body using a certain vibration of Gurmukhi, we call it in Kundalini yoga. Gurmukhi is the language which has evolved from Sanskrit, but has got bits of Arabic and Persian added to it as the recent dharma of, if that's how you want to call it, or the path lineage for the Aquarian age that we're now in, was set 550 years ago. So what Kundalini practices do is we use a manipulation of the breath with movement and chanting to cause an overall impact on the body to release trauma at quite an accelerated level. But because this is done under guidance of a practitioner, it's not so sudden as I had my awakening. I think my awakening was destined for myself due to whatever reason, but in a class or a one-to-one session, I guide people through this. But what I also have done is I've incorporated angelic healing with the Kundalini as my own culmination, and I feel they work very well together. So the masculine and feminine sides of the body. So the Kundalini energy comes from the earth, which is feminine, the divine feminine, and it comes through our spine, up past the heart chakra and up out of the crown. And the Christ energy, which is also known as Shiva, the Shiva energy, comes down from the cosmos through our crown into the earth, and it meets at the heart. Now, through these exercises and scenarios, eventually the Kundalini climbs and meets at the heart with the Christ consciousness. The heart opens, and that's when the true awakening process starts within the human form. So our DNA will then start to upgrade, our meridians and our chakras will start flowing. But with this process, what I have personally found is talking therapies like, you know, psychotherapy, counseling, Louise Hay methods, metaphysical counseling, whatever it may be, are very, very much needed to help, you know, as you said, Anna Pavlakis, as you do in your coaching, this is a very valuable part of the process with these exercises. So yeah, that's what I do. And then what I found from this journey is unlocked so many more of my gifts as a speaker. My voice is a great medium of healing now that I've discovered. So through my chanting and my angel tonings as well, I feel that my vibration is helping others. So yeah, the Kundalini yoga, the angelic massage, and Reiki are my four virtues, and hopefully more. The mediumship is getting stronger. So for the last 2 to 3 minutes, if you would allow me to, could I do a heart meditation so you can experience just a little bit of and it will work really well with Anna, what Anna's has just done as well.
Please do. I've got to just got to say before you do that the other day we met, Amit and I, in a Hare Krishna restaurant in central London, and he did an angelic invocation while we were just about to have dinner, and like the whole restaurant just stopped and looked at us. It was quite funny. That's why I was laughing to myself. I was remembering that moment, and it was very powerful. Please continue. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, just for this part, I'm going to ask you to I'm going to tune in with the Kundalini chant. So I'm not going to expect you to engage in that because we don't have time. So just be within yourself for now. Close your eyes, center yourself, and just take a few deep breaths in from the earth all the way through the bottom of your spine. As you breathe out, connect to the earth. And then on your second cycles of breath, breathing in, opening the crown, allowing this cosmic energy of the divine to enter through the crown. As you breathe out, rooted into the earth, feel it going down your body. And then as you breathe 360 degrees into your body from the heart center, feel the cosmos, the divine, God, however you may refer, coming into your body. I'm going to tune in to these mantras, and then I'll just do a very short heart meditation. Om आद्गुरे नमः जुगाद्गुरे नमः सतगुरे नमः श्री गुरुदेवे नमः आद्गुरे नमः जुगाद्गुरे नमः सतगुरे नमः श्री गुरुदेवे नमः आद्गुरे नमः जुगाद्गुरे नमः सतगुरे नमः श्री गुरुदेवे नमः. Just take a deep breath in, nice and gentle. Hold that breath into your heart and just allow that vibration to integrate into the body. So this is like opening the energy for any Kundalini session. It connects us to our higher self and calls on protection of our angels and guides and our belief system around us. So you can exhale that breath and just open the eyes. And just for 1 minute, I'm going to ask you to connect with your heart. So take your left hand and place it horizontally on your heart center, so at the sternum. And then with your right hand, I'm going to ask you to take your thumb and your index finger, or the pinky, and create an O. Okay, so it's going to be like this, and the elbow will be tucked in to the right hand rib cage. Okay, so the left hand will be on the chest horizontally. The right hand will be like this. So imagine Jesus Christ taking the oath of peace. Okay, the eyes are going to be closed, and what I'm going to ask you to do is to breathe in with your breath gently, deeply, and hold that breath in your body for as long as is comfortable. You can envisage
little finger, Bonnie. Sorry,
little finger. Yes,
little finger, Bonnie.
Okay. And if you put your elbow and tuck it into your rib cage, if you can, if it's comfortable. And so just breathe in and hold the energy in. You can visualize it as you wish. Hold the energy in your body. Okay, hold it and then exhale the breath out completely when you can. So breathe out and keep your vessel empty for as long as you can. Even if it's 2 or 3 seconds, that's fine. Okay? Okay, and now keep doing this just for 1 more minute, okay? So breathe in nice and slowly. Hold the energy in Feel your heart center expand out, pure unconditional love. And then when you cannot hold, exhale, empty your system and hold that emptiness, that neutral 0 point of complete love. And just keep repeating this cycle now. So breathing in, holding in, and then breathing out, holding out. So we've just got another few seconds left, half a minute left. I'm not going to do this very long. This is the meditation of a sound heart. As you're holding and as you're holding in and out, the healing energy is starting to expand the aura and is starting to upgrade and release anything that's not needed anymore.
Time check of 30 seconds.
Okay, yes. You're gonna, your next release out, exhale, move your hands down onto your knees. Keep the eyes closed. Take a breath in. And gently in your own time, exhale. I'm going to do the tuning out mantra 3 times of Satnam. Just listen to it. So put your hands, rest them on your knees while I tune out and ground the energy. So all the chakras are going to shut down now. Universal cosmos, peace within, light within, and love within. Thank you so much, Satnam.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I could feel my energy vibrating again. Thank you. Okay. So we may have to go just a few minutes over the half past if you have time. With that, I'm going to hand over to Anna. Thank you so much, Amit, for being here and doing that. And thank you, Anna, for that, for you being here. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Perfect. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Amit. That was lovely. And I feel you on the science and healing aspect to be a scientist or a healer, because that's where I'm coming from also as a former research scientist of 20 years, which now does healing work or shadow work with people who have trauma, unresolved childhood trauma for the most part. That's what it is. And I use tarot to help get them in touch with what needs to be healed if they don't really know. So in shadow work, my approach is a bit different than a lot of people's, I guess you could say. There's a lot of people that have a lot of anger, pent up anger about what happened to them. And they would hear, that they've got to let that go. And, a lot of that's a very popular narrative, but I actually say to them, like, I encourage them to use that as a driving force to get better, so that when we complete the process, that they have now not only healed their trauma, but they've transmuted this seemingly negative emotion into something very positive. So they are able to, live with how they did it, like, so they don't feel guilty about having anger, because I don't know why this narrative exists, but our anger is our friend. It lets us know that there's something wrong when we're people pleasers, which typically people with childhood trauma are people pleasers because they don't want to upset anyone. We tend to, gloss over things that people do that are not very nice to us. So when we feel that pang of anger, that's like our best friend nudging us saying, hey, something's wrong here. Like, something's wrong. They're trying to let us know. So as long as it's done in a, contained way and not, out of control, it can be a useful and positive aspect of the process. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And I have, so I'm working with JFK University, John F. Kennedy University, and my Consciousness Transformative Studies program, graduate program. And previously I was a teacher, high school teacher, but now I teach college psychology, and am doing this program, my second master's degree here, and a concurrent PhD in metaphysics from University of Sedona. So I'm taking all of the knowledge I've had my whole life and putting it together to create a way to help people heal. And also, again, integrating tarot and the psychic abilities that, reside within myself and my clients to help them get in contact with their inner child and to work through the things that are holding them back in life. The things that we see typically as symptoms of unresolved childhood traumas, like toxic relationships, problems keeping employment, anxiety, panic, depression, all of those things. And, obviously that I feel everybody should have done some sessions in therapy first before they engage in this process, because they need to have at least, work through a majority of things in their life. But if this is like at the last bit, when you've done the work and you're still plagued with these issues, I think shadow work is a very helpful and transformative tool when it's done in a way that serves your client's best interest, right? So that's what I've been doing. And I feel that the whole thing with healing and science, because as a former scientist, I didn't really believe in that so much. So and so I had the opposite. I mean, like, instead of the parents, I was already the scientist, and then I had this draw to be more healer, and it was just so incongruent with one another, I felt like. And now I see that they're absolutely connected and one and the same, basically, just a different lens that you look at it through, So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So if you have any questions, feel free.
I have a question. Were you always drawn to healing?
So no, no, I wasn't actually. I was pretty selfish. I had a near-death experience in 2016 that changed that for me, definitely.
Wow. I have an ability to read energies and people, and I've had this for as long as I can remember, and I can tell just from looking at you that you are very psychic. So I appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you for that confirmation. That's the other issue, was that, like, it's hard for me to admit that part, because my left brain says it's not possible. But then again, it's like you can only deny things for so long before it becomes kind of pointless to do so. And that's where that near-death experience fixed that for me. And now I'm just accepting it. And as I accept it, I realize it gets stronger the more that I embrace it, I guess you could say. So that's been very helpful too. So I'm able to intuitively pick up on the things that are going on in some of my clients that they can't pick up on. So that's very helpful. And I'm very grateful to have that ability.
That makes sense, because it's a muscle, and as you exercise it, it gets stronger, right?
Yeah, means that's what it seems like thus far. It's just, as soon as I said, okay, fine, I concede, that's when things started getting really much more in my control. Before, they were not in my control. It would happen sporadically, occasionally, with no rhyme or reason to it, it felt like. And now it's actually much more controllable for me. Like, I can actually tune in at the time needed, instead of it just being a random occurrence in my life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's almost like a tap that you can switch on and off when you need to, right?
Yeah, it's becoming more and more accessible to me that way. Yes, definitely.
What you said about anger when you started speaking was really important for me, because I have a lot of anger and a lot of history with my mother, particularly, even though both parents are very dysfunctional, and that's still going on now. But if I could ask you, this question, which may be a little childlike in some way, but what would you say is the main thing that people need to work on if they want to address childhood trauma and heal from it and leave it in the past?
Okay, well, there's a couple things, but the main one, in my opinion, and I'm sure there's other differing opinions out there that are also valid, but for me, because I also have the same issue, is that it's about acceptance. It's not about necessarily forgiveness of that person. It's about acceptance. So accepting that those things happen to you, accepting that they're not fair, accepting that people didn't show up when they should have to be there to support you, and that people failed, and that it's that you understand that, and you let it become part of your story, and instead of controlling you, with these things, like, we have to accept things about people that are not pleasant, right? We have a tendency to say things like they did the best they could, or they were also from an abusive home or whatever. But to me, the truth of it is that if you're able to see that it's wrong, and you start to do work on it, there's no reason why they should not have been able to, even, and especially later in life. It's like, once we, like when we're young parents, I mean, everyone makes mistakes, nobody's perfect, and that's okay, but you're supposed to learn from your mistakes and then grow from them, and not repeat things that we know are bad for us, right? So I think that it's about accepting who your parent is, and not trying to make them into something else, and to also accept that these things happen to us for a reason, and like, and those reasons, are they fair? No. Is it a fair trade? Like, we get maybe psychic gifts because of it. Is that really fair? Not really. But at the end of the day, it's for a greater purpose. Like, you're here doing this show, you're bringing people that have talent and ability that can help other people out to the public eye. So you're doing a service. So would you be doing this service right now had that not been your history? And if you look at it through the lens of like initiation, right, because we're in Western culture, we don't have that container, that tribal container, to help us integrate, like, go through these stages in life, these changes. So we have rough initiations, is what I like to think of as, like, they're rough. There's no rhyme or reason to them. There's no supportive container. They're always traumatic, but they serve a greater purpose for the collective, and that is to bring people to, that can speak to, from, and about the trauma to other people, because nobody wants to listen to somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. Like, if you haven't been in my shoes, why would I listen to you about, like, about your advice? Because, you know what I mean? Like, it's like trying to talk to someone about drug addiction and they've never had that problem. It's like, it's impossible for them to relate to you on a real level. So unfortunately for us, or fortunately, for other people, that we have the ability to be resilient enough to get through it, and to be able to help others in, as a result. So we have to look at the bright side also, which is much later, realize much later in life. But I think acceptance about your situation and your scenario, and not trying to make it something it isn't, is very important and key in that process.
That's so helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. Anna, do you happen to have a book that you would recommend on shadow work? And I'll be very honest, I'm not really familiar with it, but I would like to know. I hear it often.
Right.
So what do you recommend reading?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, like, I create my own, like, prompts. Like, I do it myself. I sit down and try to channel my own inner child and figure out what I would want to, what questions I wish I would have been asked back then, to process.
Okay.
But
okay.
Carl Jung,
Gotcha.
right? Like, Carl Jung is the one that came up with this idea. So any of Carl Jung's books that have to do with, his psychology. So, I mean, like, and there's a lot. So it's hard for me to, like, off the top of my head, think of one, because I have them all behind me right now.
Right.
Carl Jung, anything about, he will have, like, his stuff is in there. But again, it's a little bit hard it's very distributed throughout his work. So I would just, that's what I do. You channel your inner child and think of what should my child have been asked by somebody if they cared enough to intervene back then.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I see. So you said, what should my parents have asked me or talked to me about?
Like, what should someone have asked me? Like, someone that came forward, like someone that would have been there to help, if they had done their role properly, whoever was, protecting us, supposed to be.
So what would you ask your child right now? If what's a good question?
Well, it depends on what the trauma is, I believe, right? So it could be neglect, it could be abuse. So it would depend on the person. And that's why, like, like for my clients, I tailor it because there's no one size fits all kind of thing here. But I think it's like, what could have had, like, a question like, what could have been, like, how do you feel about, like, how did this make you feel? Like, we're not going back into specific trauma. Like, I'm not asking people to go back to the actual trauma. Right. It's more about the feelings that you had, because those are the feelings that are persisting to this day,
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know if you saw Bonnie, but Anna wrote "Healing the Child Within" by Charles Whitfield is really good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Anna. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, definitely just like what feelings. It's about the feelings, because somatically we hold those in our body. Like, we get body, like, flashbacks, but they're not like the flashbacks of like PTSD. It's like an emotional feeling, and it's triggered throughout our life by people. They say, it's hard to even identify. So triggers are a huge, triggering and projecting, like, are huge signs of this. Like, when we are triggered, we get really upset about something, like, for instance, someone cut me off in traffic. I got really mad about it. And I was really mad, like, about it. And it was really bothering me. So I sat down. I'm like, all right, why am I so angry? But I wasn't mad about the person cutting me off. I was mad about the inconsiderate nature of the act, because it was inconsiderate.
Gotcha.
Like, you have to break down why you're triggered. And then projecting, when we start to pick apart other people, right? And we start talking, smack on people. It's important to take a step back and look to see, wait a minute, why is this bothering me about this person? Is this something I do also, and I just can't see it in myself, and therefore I'm projecting it onto other people? Because we do that with the things we don't like about like the icky parts that we kind of try to hide. So
transfer. We do a transference.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. It's a defense mechanism, because it's much easier to criticize other people than it is to put that focus on ourselves.
Can I ask you a question about narcissism?
Oh, yes, please.
So it sounds like when you're talking about projecting, that's exactly what my mother does, right? And as with all narcissists, they hold up the mirror and say, "No, it's you."
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Do you think that that's healable?
So interesting. My lecture last night was on narcissism. Actually, it's so random that you're bringing this up. We were talking about this in my class last night. My professor is a former psychotherapist that specialized in narcissism, and what he was saying is, yeah, you can, if the person wants help, if the person is capable of recognizing that they're causing pain to other people, and they actually want to go get help. And it could even be, he said it could even be where they like are trying to prove you wrong, so they're going with you, like, fine, we'll go to counseling, but just so I can show you that it's your problem, right? Even then, like, there's a possibility. But if the person is just detached from reality to the point where it's like, no, I'm not doing that, then no, because it's all about, narcissism. In most of it is caused, like, through also trauma, like, because all of us have narcissistic tendencies. We all do. The kids are narcissistic. They only think of me, right? We learn to grow out of that, and learn to start having theory of mind about other people's needs and wants. So this is like something where that gets shut off because of trauma. So they just stay in that selfish, all about me mode. And they don't really see it. Like, they like believe what they're saying, they believe it. And to them, it's skewed. It's a skewed version of reality. So, it unfortunately impacts us greatly. And our projection's a little different. I just want to say, we don't typically yell at the people about it. We just notice it and, like, talk to ourselves about, like, oh, I don't like it, whereas a narcissist will come and throw it in your face and, like, use it against you, right? So there's, like, a little difference there, but similar but different. But again, they have trauma underlying that they're, like, clearly not wanting to talk about or deal with, and it's easier for them to just do that to us. Yeah.
Again, you made so much sense. Thank you. And you hit the nail on the head when you said, they live in their own version of reality. That's so true.
Oh, yeah. And it's very unfortunate. It's very hard to watch. It's very hard to be around. And it's crazy making. It can actually cause you, it can cause illness in you by having like physical illness. It can actually make you sick by dealing with that energy. So it's really important to have exit strategies for people like that, and also to detach emotionally from that situation and not engage, as hard as that can be, because they will say things to you that are purposeful, like made to just get under your skin, and they have excellent, uncanny ability to do so. And it's almost like a psychic gift. They have like this ability to really just hit you where it hurts. And it's like hard to not react, but that's the key, is to just not react or agree with them. Just say, yeah, you're right. And like take the wind out of their sails. You know, that's like really the best way to handle it. If you can't escape, if they're like a parent, the best thing to do is to just agree with them. And then they have the, like, it's like when a bully bullies you and you stop reacting, it's kind of like they don't get what they want anymore. So they move on to someone else. Like kind of, it can be like that.
That's awesome advice. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, we still have 5 minutes, so we're good.
Okay. Listen, all right, quick. Anna, what is it that a parent does that forms the narcissistic child? What is it that we do?
Mm-hmm.
Is it natural in them, or is it something we do?
So we are narcissists. Like we as kids, we don't understand other people's point of view or what their needs are, because we're forming our sense of self, right? So like at the time in childhood development where we're supposed to be forming a robust sense of self, this process is impeded in some way or another by either neglect is a big one, but also abuse, like physical abuse or sexual abuse. Those are the two, like those are the main ones. Like, and then when they don't get any, like if a child is abused and doesn't get any support from a family member or something, these are huge, like these are, you know, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to end up with a narcissist, but it's definitely risk factors. So, you know, spending time with your kids is key, like, you know, letting them know that they're safe, providing, you know, love and affection and all of those things, that those are going to help prevent anything like that. But I mean, again, all kids go through trauma. Yeah. Everybody goes through some trauma in their life. Like we can't escape that. It's how we handle it and how the people around us help us process it. That's really key into what kind of adults we become later. But the attachment to the mom specifically is very important with this. If you have bad attachment to your caregiver in the first 2 years of life, the first 2 years, you're set up, like if it's bad, you're going to have problems going forward. And it's unfortunate that something so early on in life would affect us, but it does. It's like tons of research that support that.
Anna, I want to ask you, in the last remaining 3 or 4 minutes that we have, is there something that you would like to share with us relating to this work or anything?
I mean, I think it's really important. I think that if you're an adult and if you find yourself in like the same relationship over and over, but with just a person in a different skin suit, you know, like the same, any kind of scenario that's repetitive in your life, that's, you know, the theme is the same, but the players change. Those are red flags that there's something wrong that you need to heal. Like, I mean, I'm saying like if it's a negative thing, if it's something that's bothering you that impedes your growth, then these are signs that, you know, and it's not easy to admit it, because honestly, I was this way. I didn't want to admit that something that happened in my childhood could impact me now at this age. Like I felt that it kind of made me feel weak. And like I had this idea that which doesn't kill me makes me stronger. That narrative that we lie to ourselves and say. And while that's partially true, because it didn't kill us, we're still here. It can still kill our spirit, and it can still kill our progress, right? So if you're finding yourself in these negative outcomes, even though you try so hard and you're attracting the same people, same friends, same partners, these are red flags. And it's time to like really, you know, like care enough about yourself to do the work that's necessary. Like you matter, and you impact other people too. So like your well-being is not just for yourself, it's for the collective as well. So, you know, do the work. It's hard. It's not easy. It's very upsetting to have to admit these things happen and like how bad and unfair they were. But they're just that. They're unfair. They're out of your control. And it's, you know, you need to process it. And
when you say do the work, like what do you mean exactly?
Like go to therapy, see someone that specializes in trauma. That's really important. Okay. Like if you just go to psychotherapy, if you just go to regular talk therapy, you're probably not going to get as, like, you might get some benefit, but it's important that you actually go to someone specialized in trauma, because these regular therapy is not for this. It's not. The people are not trained in trauma. That's a specialization. And it is unfortunately very hard to find people that are properly trained in trauma. But now with online, you know, the ability to have therapy online, it's much more accessible. So that's good. But it's important that you have a specialist in trauma. Like, and then after that, it's time to do, like, if that doesn't fully work, because it usually doesn't fully work, then you got to do the inner work yourself with the tools you've learned from therapy, right? So it's a process, and it takes a long time. It's not overnight. You didn't get traumatized to this point overnight, and you're not going to get fixed overnight either. So you have to be willing to actually buckle down and do the work.
That's awesome. Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions before we close this session? Yes, Amit.
A very quick question, Anna. So I really, like, after everything that I've experienced through life, and also the ongoing development that I'm going through, I'm getting a very strong pull towards counseling and psychotherapy in the future. But can you recommend any courses which are metaphysical, like not just the mainstream model, but bring in spirituality?
Oh yeah, the program I'm in right now is with, like, it's John F. Kennedy University, and National University just bought it out. It's the Consciousness and Transformative Studies program in the School of Psychology. It's amazing. I'm beyond blessed to have found this program. It's done so much for me, and worth every penny. I don't even know how else to say. There's a couple other schools like that too. But I personally have experience with this. So
could you repeat it, please?
Yeah, it's John F. Kennedy University.
Yeah.
It used to be in Petaluma, California, but now National University, you know, like the online school National, has bought it out. So they've retained their own identity within National. So they still have all the same professors and department heads that they had when they were a physical campus. And I'm just saying, like, the people, it's called Consciousness and Transformative Studies program. There's classes for shamanic traditions, you know, archetypal mythology, like all kinds of awesome courses that, you know, you're just like, wow, I mean, this is amazing to me. This is the stuff, and it's all connected to, you know, psychology. So it's, you know, there's different tracks you can specialize in too. So they even do you know, healing through different substances, you know, like having license to dispense certain hallucinogenics, things like that. So you can get your license there to do that as well. So I think that would be a good place to start.
That's amazing. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Any closing comments or thoughts that you would like to share, Anna?
Yeah. So the last thing is, you know, right now, like, if you're having struggles in this stuff and in life, like, this does not have to be a life sentence for you. Like, if you do this stuff, you will, like, be able to have a more fulfilling life. So I know it seems hard and stressful and, like, you know, overwhelming, but it's worth it. You're worth it, like, to have a nice, peaceful life after the fact. And also, so you don't put it on your kids. Like, this is inherited trauma. We can inherit trauma up to 3 generations out. It's a scientific fact. So, like, you don't want to send it to your kids and have then your grandkids also having trauma. Like, stop it with you. You be the person who needs to stop the cycle. Like, stop
the cycle. That's awesome. Thank you so much. That was awesome. I would like to say, when you watch back this video, any of you watching, I'm going to be sharing it in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Sometimes it takes me a little bit of time. During those last few minutes, there was an orb right next to you that went into that blue book. There's not the thick one, but the thin blue book. And it was on your screen. And it was really bright. And when you were talking at one point, I don't know about anybody else, but I saw a cat in my vision.
I have a cat here. I don't know. I've seen it too. The ghost cat. Yeah.
It was on your chair.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've seen it, like, out of the corner of my eye, like, a lot, but yeah, like, my house has ghosts in it, like, for sure. I have a portal in it. Actually, I'm not joking.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you know, I would just want to invite you back whenever you like. Please feel free to come and do like a 5 or 10 minute segment whenever you want to in the future. and also, to take a main segment next year sometime as well.
Cool.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you
for
to
having me.
everybody
Appreciate
that
it.
contributed this evening. I'm going to close this session with gratitude and ask you all to say something that you are grateful for and a power word. I will start and then go around the group. I'll take the spotlight off you. Anna now, if I can, maybe I can't figure it out in time, but my thing that I'm grateful for is I'm grateful for crystals and their amazing healing properties, which are gifts of the earth, right? And my power word is renunciation. Yeah. And I'll put that same question to you, Anna Stone.
Okay. I'm grateful for all my life experiences, even the bad ones, because it make me who I am today. And my power word is acceptance.
Beautiful. Thank you. Bonnie, something you're grateful for and a power word.
I am grateful for frankincense oil, and my power word is peace.
Beautiful. Thank you. Amit.
I'm grateful for energy because it's everything, and I can manipulate it using my wisdom and knowledge that I've learned. And my power word right now is boundaries.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you. And Jan, please get ready to share with your typing. I'm going to ask you now, Anna Pavlakis.
Yep. I'm grateful for this new phase or this new era that I'm moving into. And my power word, I'm going to go with momentum again.
Wonderful. So if you would like to share within the next few seconds, Jan, you've written, first, my strength to continue. Beautiful. And second, my power word would be acceptance. That's a beautiful one. Thank you, Jan, for sharing that. And thank you, everyone, for your presence this evening. Amit, you haven't shared.
I just remembered it's new moon in Sagittarius today, so it's amazing that you've had this today. It's synchronized.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for being here, everyone. Bonnie, would you like to share your art with us before we say goodbye?
I haven't done any. I have a thumb injury, and so I'm back.
Oh, bless you.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. You've given us so much magical art. It's really, really beautiful to see each of your faces, and I'm just so grateful for you all. Thank you, and have a beautiful rest of the day wherever you are in the world, and see you online or in the next session. Enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.